Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the Above Normal podcast. I'm here with Cappie Pondexter, my co-host, and Mick. We're really excited to have Mick on as our Above Normal guest today. Mick is a DJ, Brooklynite, sneakerhead, investor, speaker. This guy does it all, and he's definitely leaving normal behind. I really appreciate you for your time, Mick. And Cappie,
Sure.
We're all at home during quarantine right now, so making good content and talking about impactful conversations. So Mick, I kind of just want to give you a quick floor, 30 seconds, because you're doing so many different things, kind of giving you an opportunity to maybe introduce what you're up to now and maybe what's most important to you now.
Sure. The main thing I do is DJ, which has led to all the other opportunities I get to be part of. And most of those are all like a wrap right now because of this virus. So for me, it's just been a strategy and a strategic plan to like move my business online, which is really weird, but it is working. And so whether that's like doing IG lives or doing like private events, I've done parties on Zoom. You name it, you got to go where more money is when there's no money. And I'm trying to make my new job to be like the guy that can find money where there's no money. That's like my new job title.
Man, I'm gonna write that down.
You gotta find it somewhere. I haven't found it yet, but like I want to,
For sure. One question that I had that's kind of been pressing at my mind is first let me ask you, what does normal mean to you? Because it will go into my next question around being a DJ.
Normal in which way?
Just the word normal. Like if somebody said, hey Mick, what does the word normal mean to you? I think it's abstract and everyone kind of has their own definition of it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I would say there is no normal, right? Because I think I'm a pretty normal person, but like compared to like other people, I'm really fucking weird. And then at the same time, there's people that are like way more strange than me that other people view as normal. Like I've seen so much shady shit like in the music industry and in nightlife where I'm like, that's not cool. That's not right at all. And there are people that's their normal and that's their peers normal and that's their friends normal. And that's not my friends and my peers normal, but and I don't know who's to say who's right or who's wrong. I think there's a pretty obvious, like there's like ethical rules that humanity goes by, but there are people that are like, they just don't flow by those rules. So, and that's their normal. And so, yeah, I don't know. To me, there is no normal.
That's cool. So Mick, look, I was reading your bio and something interesting struck me, like when I read it about how music and basketball was like everything to you growing up.
Yeah.
Like I'm curious to know, like, who
still
was your
is.
favorite like rapper and who was like your favorite basketball player growing up?
I've been a Celtics fan since I was like maybe third or fourth grade. That's when I discovered basketball. And I remember, this was like the height of the like Celtics-Lakers 80s rivalry. And so it was a great time to like jump in to becoming a basketball fan. I just remember as a kid, I lived in Ohio, but the Cavs weren't that good. And so it was like I was like, what color do I like better? I'm a kid. Do I like green or do I like purple? And I like green. So I went with Boston. And I've been a Boston fan, to this day. And then as far as for hip hop, it's kind of ironic because of what I just did before we were recording this, but the first ever rap song I ever heard and the first ever album I bought, it's so funny, I actually have it out because of what I just did. It was actually this album. It was Fresh Prince of Jazzy Jeff. He's the DJ, I'm the rapper. And the reason I have it out, it's actually, I've kept it in my desk for like 20 years as like a reminder of like, because my life became like my dream. But this was the first thing I ever bought. And anyways, today, Jeff and I are good friends and we've done a bunch of projects together over the years, but obviously him and Will still do stuff, and they just started a whole like Fresh Prince clothing line, and they did a Fresh Prince block party today with Jeff and me, and so many other people are doing it all day, and it was just insane. It was like the craziest shit I've ever done on IG since this pandemic happened, and so yeah, that's why like it's kind of cool. So my life it's a great example of my life coming like full circle from that kid in fourth grade that went to Kmart to buy this tape to like what I got to do like 3 hours ago. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, that's amazing. So,
what were you always like at, put yourself back in third or fourth grade? Did you always have like this hunger or ambition to grow? Was it an innate? I love how you said, my life turned into my dream. I think people that resonate with leaving normal behind or being above normal, they resonate with this idea of designing your life, right? No matter what stage you're at, whether you're in that stage right now or you're in the process of becoming. Did you always have that type of, motivation and like determination to do that? Or was that something that you had to like grow into or, discovered later on in your teenage years?
I would say I probably learned that in middle school. I don't think I didn't know that. My parents worked extremely hard. My mom had a bunch of like shitty jobs, and my dad put in carpet and tile, and very blue collar, worked. But my grandparents owned a drugstore in our little town in Ohio, and my grandpa gave me a job in 7th grade. First, it was only Sunday mornings for like 4 hours, but then it became like after school, and then it became like evenings, then it became the full weekend, and then it became like a 20-hour-a-week job while I was in high school, which was awesome. But I started when I was like 12, which is wild, like selling like lottery tickets and tobacco and all this stuff to like old fucking crazy people. And I was 12 years old. But that, I believe, when I look back at my life, set that tone for me for just ambition and hustling and getting around. Because I watched my grandpa, he did really well, and my parents did not do well at all. So it was really weird to me because my parents, how I saw it, my parents worked way harder than what my grandpa did. If you look at the element of physical like labor, like my dad would work like 12-hour days putting in tile and come home and like his hands were all fucked up. And my grandpa, like, he was a pharmacist and he owned the store and he'd like go on trips, and I was just like, then I figured it out. Like, like physical hard work doesn't necessarily have to be, as a kid, that's all basically easy to explain to a kid. Like, so if you try, like, I have a 4-year-old son, like if he wants to get something done, he has to probably physically go do it. Like, he doesn't have the authority or the money to like go and think to hire a maid to pay because of a job to come clean up his toys. The only way those toys are going to get clean is if he physically goes and does them. He can't think about 3 other ways to like do that. As adults, we could say, okay, do I want to walk to California, or do I want to spend money because I work and fly to California? Because that's a much more logical way to do it across the board. So we're putting all stuff together as far as like A to B. But so I learned that from my grandpa. It was just like, okay, we don't have to just go a straight line, which was like basically what my dad did. I can go zigzag and end up there. And so, yeah, that happened. And then that was like middle school and high school. And then I went away to college, and I started DJing that summer right before college. And I think that it was watching that hustle and ambition in my life that enabled me to do that. And I don't want to make it out like my grandpa was like Gary V. Like, he was just a dude. He was just a pharmacist, a great human. Right. And I learned so much from it.
That he was like your kind of insight, that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Yeah. He was the person that opened your eyes to not trading time for money.
Yeah, basically.
And after you started DJing, another thing too, because it ties in right now, to being above normal is how did you separate yourself, out of all of the DJs? It's pretty coveted position that you get to be in, to spin at awesome events and spin around great brands and people. And obviously the talent in mixing, is the skill. Content curation is a skill, but I assume that there has to be some level of like personality that you're bringing into your conversations too, that like sets you apart from others, so if somebody else wants to like stand out in whatever industry they're in, maybe they're a DJ like you, how could they be above normal in that way too?
I've always thought of what I do as kind of an intellectual exercise more so than a skill exercise. And I'm good at being a DJ. Like I'm great some days. I'm less than good other days. I net out as probably very good. I mean, if I practice and put like more time in, I could probably be at more consistent level. I don't think it matters at this point. Like I'm a B+ dude. Like let me just like show up and get the B+. Right, you can have the A, and then I'll have a life outside of the B+. Right. And So, the reason my career was able to do that was because I've always approached it that way. And I had to make peace with that early on. And I used to take a lot of flack from it growing up. Like, oh, you can't, spin behind your back while you're DJing. And you can't, I mean, there were like guys in like these battles that would like scratch with their balls and stuff. Like, it was just like wild shit. They're like, you'd have to have like a 99.9 level proficiency, like NBA or WNBA level proficiency of that. So like when those DJ battles back in the day, like there was nobody could do that stuff on those planets except for people that put in 20, 30, 40,000 hours to do that stuff. It was next level, like top tier shit. I didn't care about that. Like, I just loved the music, and I loved, let me back that up. I cared about it from a respect for the art form. But like for me, like, I didn't want to put that time in because I was like, oh, but I could market myself, and I could have a better logo than you, and I could do more press than you, and I could play better song selection than you, and I could have songs that you don't have yet. And, so you have to like know your lane. And my lane was always like, I can't be that person. I'm never going to be the most popular person in the room or the coolest person or any of those things. But I could be like, again, that B+ mentality. I could be a solid B all around. And that's how I've had like longevity too.
So what got you involved in investing?
Being around smart people and, hearing about some opportunities that made sense to me. Also, it happened right at the time when my son was getting ready to be born. And I knew I needed to start thinking about future-proofing my life just a little bit outside of DJing. I'm 42. I feel like I was 37 when he was born. Maybe 38. I don't know, some number in the mid 30s, mid to high 30s. And I just wanted to start like expanding on my business because I have great relationships and I have great connections and I have great marketing ability from running my life. And I was like, maybe there's ways I could connect all that to help other people. Maybe one day make some money off it. If nothing else, I'll meet a lot more interesting people. And, I figured worst case, I'll just meet a bunch of fucking people that have money and then somebody will end up booking me one day and I'll make the money back anyway. So I kind of went into it thinking like, if I wait it out, it's like playing with house money.
I know. I noticed that one of my good friends, Rashawn Williams. He was a mentor of mine, and I interned for his venture capital.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never met him, but we've definitely interacted a lot on social, and I'm a big fan of like what he's doing and how he's doing it, like for the athletes and like the knowledge he drops and all that. It's really cool.
He's a great guy. He's cool.
Yeah, well, maybe after the quarantine, we'll have coffee. Like, yeah, he's a very inspiring. I've learned a lot from his posts, to be honest with you.
That's amazing.
That was one of the things too. Yeah, when I first started connecting with Cappie, she was always, sharing such great content on the fringes of business and technology, and that whole like more than an athlete platform. We really resonate, right? Being well-rounded and being able to express yourself in a wide variety of ways. Where, why have you maintained such a commitment of basketball and music even now? Why basketball specifically and music?
I mean, it's only. Are you asking me?
Yeah. I'm asking.
Okay.
And even fashion too. Fashion in there too, because it seems like this is like a three-headed dragon of sorts. Music, basketball.
Well, I mean, they're all. I mean, if you look at hip hop culture in general, like those are like the tenements of it. I mean, there's the real tenements of it, which are like breakdancing, graffiti, like the act of the biblical version of what it is. But like when you zoom out on it, it's kids playing basketball, kids wearing great sneakers, kids listening to music, and then that applies to like what you're wearing and and how you talk. And then that thankfully grew into a culture that also influences how you act, how you treat people. And though, as a whole, like, you could obviously micro-point all the bad things of how people treat people within hip hop. Like if you zoom out and you look at like the macro of it, it's done 99% more good than harm. And you could look at the impact it's had on race relations. You could look at the impact it's had on economic relations. It's like, it's slightly harder, even with all the bullshit that goes on the news every day and all this stuff, for some 50-year-old guy that grew up still listening to like Biggie and Tupac and Run DMC and all that stuff, to have some preconceived biases towards somebody he's never met that doesn't look like him, that maybe isn't the same age as him, that definitely isn't from where he's from. Like, hey, whatever those like things are, like it helps gray it a little bit, you know? And that is something I've seen a lot in real time in my life. And I think that's really cool. Now, does that solve all the problems of the world? No, absolutely not. Does the dumb shit still keep happening? Which just happened the other day. It's fucking horrible. But I think if you could go and if they had like a racial asshole coronavirus test that they could give everybody now versus like 50 years ago before like stuff started like blending more, I would think like percentage wise, the majority of people maybe not the majority, but more people are pure hearted than it was a long time ago. And that's what I hope. I pray that's true for my son.
I hope.
I pray that's true.
Mm-hmm. I hope so, for sure. And I mean, I really think you touched on something that's like pretty impactful, and it's important now. Is I love how you said, you know, hip hop has done so many good things, way more, like overwhelmingly more good than any negative influence it may have caused.
I mean, dude, since you keep tying all the things together, like look at what basketball did for the corona shit. If Rudy Gobert didn't touch all those mics and get the virus and do all that dumb shit, which was all bad, by the way, none of those things were great at all. They were horrible. The country would have went on another 4 or 5 days without paying attention to this stuff. So like, and then that would have set us back months and years because they caught it. I mean, they didn't catch it, but like, you know, that Wednesday night, everything's changed. If he didn't do whatever he did to get that moment and it didn't pause the season right there, that made everybody like take notice that exact night. And that's just so ironic. It's just like it didn't come from our president, and it didn't come from like a religious leader, or it didn't come from like your parents. It came from a basketball player who created a worldwide alarm by doing something silly, right? And look what happened. And it's just like it transformed for the good a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't want to blame him for any of that was going on because like it was in small print for a long period of time. It's just Kobe's death, like, overpowered it, you know? Everybody was mourning Kobe Bryant, you know what I'm saying? So it was like we almost didn't believe it, you know? Like, nah, this is America. We have that mentality, you know? So I feel like it was most of the Americans' mindset, you know? And we missed it because it's Kobe's death. And I don't know, it's such a sensitive thing. But basketball obviously go hand in hand, you know, because I know when I was reading your bio, I just noticed like, dang, that's super important. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people won't admit that, but I think it's super cool that you acknowledge that. You know? What?
Like what
basketball and music.
Oh yeah. It's just like it's key. I mean, I've been fortunately able to connect those in numerous. Every year something revolves back into my life that connects those. Whether it's I used to DJ for the Cavs in Cleveland when I lived in Ohio, and I used to do all LeBron stuff. I still do tons of events for like NBA players. I used to do the music for NBA Live, and then I started working with 2K last year and did a bunch of parties for them, jump teams. You know, it's kind of like Katie going to the Warriors. That it's like when we go to the one that sells all the games, and you know, even to that, like, oh, you know, All-Star Weekend, I'm always doing parties, and I always just think it's perfect, you know. And again, we've seen it as a society again these last couple of weeks with the Last Dance thing, right? Like it brought everything full circle again with that combination.
As we're wrapping up here in the last 10 minutes, I want us to dive in terms of like tangible, practical takeaways that someone that's watching might be like, you know what, I really am inspired by Mick and Cappie, and they're amazing people, you know, and I want to become more amazing. I would ask you, Mick, like, what do you think, and it could be a combination of skills, what do you think is like a skill or a thought or a belief system that you have, you know, that makes you feel like you will continue to be successful, right? It didn't bring success, but makes you feel secure in your ability to keep performing, keep producing, keep growing. What does somebody else need to grow, and what type of habits should we build in order to do that?
My kind of operating system involves stuff like that has been more of like a stoic mentality. I've really tried to operate with that framework the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically the obstacle is the way. It's kind of like the mantra of it, and I've used that for things that have happened with me via people, with jobs, with health, with opportunity. And you just control the things that you can control. And, especially now as we're in a pandemic, like it's really been very helpful, because I have days where I wake up and where I've crushed harder than any day I've ever had in my life. And I have days where I'm just literally immobile and I can't do shit. And I don't know why. And I'm just like 1 o'clock and I get mad at myself, and then you just got to like stop. And you got to be forgiving of yourself. I know it's really weird. It's like waking up and I don't know what person I'm going to be when I wake up. And thankfully, the good happy me is 75% of the time, but I get these days and I'm just like, I just call it, fuck it. Like it's just not going to happen. So, so those are the days I try to like just chill and whatever. And thankfully a lot of those days they happen on days I have my kid, who's like a big vitamin into that stuff. So it helps tremendously.
That's epic. When you talk about stoicism, I heard Ryan Holiday talking about that, and just for somebody.
Yeah, his books. I have all his books. He's the guy.
Yeah. How would you paraphrase it in your own words? Is it not being too attached to the rewards and not being too attached to the downfalls and kind of keeping it even keel? How would you paraphrase, what being stoic means if somebody's never heard it before?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. I mean, that's definitely part of it. But I think the other aspect of it is just staying like the course and not letting. It's more like controlling what you can control, and you can't let things affect you that you have no control over. And so the only way you can win is to control. You have an option to be in control in any situation. You have an option to be in control on your deathbed. You have an option to be in control in solitary confinement. You might not have the physical option. I mean, you have people who've been in comas who have you have to choose to use whatever it is that you have, and whether that means you have 3 options or you have 30,000 options. That's like the only way you retain your power in that situation. And it's easier said than done. But if you try to keep that framework kind of top of mind, I found for me that it's very helpful.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And was this like, and I don't want to pepper you with questions because I do want Cappie to get one in. Was personal growth like always something you were into, like just learning these things? Were you the type of person that was like, oh, I hate reading, I'm a slow reader, and then had to like get to the reading part? Or were you always into reading and learning?
No, I love reading. I definitely have way more books I've read than the books I have that I've I definitely have way more books I've not read than books that I've read in my house. But that's more so like a metric of me. I just have a lot of books, and I'm always like, one day I'm going to get to them. If I actually counted the books, like if I didn't buy the books I didn't read yet and probably will never get to, but like in the ones I actually finished, I'd still probably be pretty happy with that, but it's just like, it's a lot. But I'm also just like, I'm a fan of books in a way that I'm a fan of music, or like I like the collector aspect of it, for example, the Ryan Holiday books we were just talking about, I have his 3 books, but now on Amazon there's like and there are 3 books that impacted my life, so they mean something to me. And there's a collector's version now that comes in like this box and they all fit, and I'm like, the sneakerhead in me is like, maybe I could just give these, because I've given his books away to so many people. Like, I'm like, maybe I could just give the ones I have away to somebody who needs them and just buy that other shit. But then I'm like, I'm in a virus right now, not making any money. Like, I just keep the books I have. Just keep them there.
That collector's bug. Money doesn't like that collector bug.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's real, right?
Kat, do you have a question before? Because I think we have like maybe 3 or 4 minutes before Mick hops off. Oh, you're on mute though, Cap.
No, I'm curious to know, like, I mean, you pretty much touched and done everything that you can possibly do through like music and fashion. Like, what do you see yourself doing in like the next 5 years?
I mean, hopefully getting out the house first and foremost. That would be awesome.
Definitely.
I don't know. I mean, I could have given you a drastically different answer for that in February. I don't know what the world's going to be like with my job when I come back. it's a year. It could be a
Good point,
year
right? Because
before
it's big
events
event,
get back to normal.
right?
That's very scary. So I spend time every day trying to like, figure out other things. I'm working on an online class for like personal branding for people. I think that'd be really interesting. I'm toying with a couple book ideas. Like I have a lot of things I could do. So I just need to like, keep dialing in on them, especially while we have this break and I'm not rushing around the airplane. I mean, I do a lot of these interviews and I do a lot of like panels and stuff like that during this, especially during this virus because everybody's really accessible. And I enjoy doing that stuff too, but it's not like, it's not like it's paying the bills, but I enjoy it, and ultimately you just keep, growing your network and building it so that these people will support what it is that you want them to support when you actually have something. That's why I like doing stuff like that. And besides that, man, I just want to be here healthy and happy for my kids.
I love that. I think that would be sorry, Cap, to cut you off if you wanted a follow-up question.
No, I was just saying that's amazing.
And I was gonna, I think that's a great way to kind of end it and wrap it up. Is so your son's 4 years old. He's a big big part of your life. I love how you said like he's a vitamin in your day, and
he totally is.
And I bet it's super awesome being a dad, like being able to like teach him the lessons that you might have wanted to be taught earlier on. So I imagine that he's getting like a lot of amazing downloads, only being 4 years old. What would you say, might be some important lessons that you want to make sure that you teach your son, that we could use as adults, that are very particular in what you find yourself repeating over and over again? Are there any particular lessons that you find yourself really passionate about sharing?
I mean, I find me just reminding him a lot to calm down because he gets like really worked up when something gets wrong, or now he's in this phase where he's telling me I'm not listening to him. And that doesn't mean I'm not actually listening to him. It means I'm just not agreeing with all his whims and choices.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it's funny for the first time, and then it's like after it's just like it's when it's in the middle of a pout, it's like it's just brutal. What I try to maintain him now during this situation is that like he is healthy, he is happy, he is clothed, he is fed, and he's loved. Like, let's scale this shit back. Like, all that you can be a conqueror and you're gonna like, take up. Okay, let's get the world right so you can like take it over. Like we have to like bring these expectations in a little bit right now. So let's just focus on like the important things, right? Like, I'm not gonna be like, you're gonna be a world-class athlete when there's no sports, right? It's like, let's just focus on the now. And it's nice because it makes you a little bit more like present, and it's really cool.
I appreciate that. So I think the final question that we usually end each of the podcasts with is what do the words "leave normal behind" mean to you?
I guess to me it means it's kind of how I live my life, because I don't really know that I've ever like we said earlier, I don't really know what normal is.
Mm-hmm.
And so my normal is just what my life is. So I guess I've always done the things that I felt like probably were a little bit harder of a path. And like whether it was just like try to get a college radio show, nobody wanted to give me one, so I just like reverse engineered my way into that. When I was, moving into like DJing clubs and stuff, nobody wanted like this like white suburban like preppy college kid in the clubs playing. So and I get that. Like I respect that, because like there were people before me who tried, who were horrible and ruined it for everybody. And somehow my talent enabled me to overcome that, which was kind of cool. But that was like a really roundabout way of doing it. And then even trying to like use DJing to pay for grad school, like that was like nobody's trying to do that. That was an odd thing. That was a really weird concept back then for me, for anybody. Like nobody could understand how I was doing that. Even when I moved to New York, like 10 years after that, like it was just like, I didn't have any real money. I didn't have any, like, I just knew I could probably do it. And so I figured if worst case, I'll just go get a job.
Right.
But for me, like, that's my normal, but like, it's that's there's other people that couldn't do any of that shit. But then there's people who could do so much more that I can't even fathom. Like if like Elon Musk or somebody like had my life, he wouldn't have my life. right? Like he would still probably have his life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we all know people who they couldn't pull off what we pull off, and you just have to like be grateful for like wherever it is, you know. And I try to keep that in mind too, you know, like how can I make sure that I'm growing and not regressing.
I love that, dude. Thank you so much. Where's the best places that people can connect with you, or any projects that you'd like to plug, or places that people can reach out?
My website's just mick.co. It's pretty easy. My Instagram @Mick. That's pretty much my main channel of information. I am on Twitter as well. I am Mick, at I am Mick. But Instagram is just really the easiest way to like get in touch with me and see what's going on. I'm DJing like tons on Instagram right now.
Yeah, I've been seeing you. You've been doing a good job,
for the next
dude.
6 months.
You're grooving.
Yeah, it's been some good shit. So yeah, definitely. If your audience wants to check in and tune in at that'd be fantastic.
Amazing. Well, I appreciate you so much, buddy. Thanks for hopping on with us.
No, my pleasure.
Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Take care, guys. Bye.
Dope.
Oh, there you go. Wait, let me see that again.
1 second.